The tampon king gets back in the ring. I speak of former VP nominee Tim Walz. He joined Beto O'Rourke at a Texas town hall last night, and the estrogen levels were enough to give Chuck Norris menstrual cramps. I wonder, is our strength our diversity?
Our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants.
Tim Walz steps into politics like a substitute teacher who's already lost control of the class. He confuses participation trophies for achievements, mistakes cliches for vision, and calls confusion leadership. Greg Gutfeld doesn't just roast him, he dismantles him, exposing a politician so mediocre that even his own supporters look like they want a refund.
Politico lingers on candidates' fingers and defend Walz's wide eyes as they claim beards are for bad guys. Tyler, speaking of beards, and I mean the one on your face, not the one that you hang out with.
Is it the shirt?
Yeah, it's the shirt. For a little guy.
Walz's brand is built on being folksy, approachable, and harmless. But behind the smile is hollow leadership that wouldn't win a pie contest at a county fair. He isn't bold or decisive, his elevator music, forgettable, uninspiring, and more annoying the longer it plays. Gutfeld rips through this act, turning Walz into a living case study in failure.
Meanwhile, Kamala's VP, Tim Walz, is being accused of lying about his rank, which is called stolen valor. But in Walz's defense in Minneapolis, stealing is legal. But misrepresenting your past for political gain? I don't see that as a problem, said one woman.
On the economy, Walz brags like Minnesota is some model of success. In reality, it's a thrift store clearance aisle, high taxes, sluggish growth, and businesses leaving faster than free Costco samples disappear. Gutfeld skewers him for treating job creators like nuisances. His fiscal policy might as well have been written with monopoly money.
Tom Hack at Politico writes this piece on the body language from the debate, claiming that it speaks volumes. Yeah, it says that Walz lost, but one of them at Politico says is like Walz's wide eyes showed his passion and emotional intensity. Can we show that? There is his wide eyes.
When it comes to public safety, Walz folds faster than a lawn chair. Crime spikes, riots, and chaos unfolded under his watch, while he played spectator. He issued vague statements instead of action. Gutfeld jokes that Walz governs like a magic 8-ball. Ask him about law and order and you'll probably get, reply hazy, try again later.
Walz also seemed to doubt the validity of the last election and future ones.
They've released analyses of election data out of Clark County, Nevada that show some pretty convincing evidence of election tampering. So what can we do to make sure, A, that the midterms actually happen, and B, that they're free of fraud?
Yeah, this one's a core. We saw just recently Donald Trump's executive order to make it more difficult, specifically to women, trying to make it more difficult for women to be able.
Education is another wreck. Instead of focusing on skills, Walz pushes ideology and bureaucracy. Minnesota classrooms look more like political battlegrounds than schools. Gutfeld mocks him as a principal who cancels math class for feeling circles. Achievement falls, expectations drop, but the unions are happy.
That humans would widen their eyes to convey that danger is close. What emotion are you getting from that?
Sorry. Still. That was every.
Like a meerkat. The pandemic exposed Walz as a political clown. His restrictions were random and contradictory: bars open, haircuts banned, gyms shut, big box stores packed. It was leadership by dartboard. Gutfeld compares it to a bad improved skit where nobody knows the rules. Walz wanted the title of leader, but not the responsibility that came with it.
We see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote.
Wait, so Trump is making it more difficult for women to vote? How so? Math problems? But it's further proof that the most dangerous thing for a leftist is a follow-up question, which is why you never hear any. But I guess questioning elections is okay now. But the best moment came when Walz forgot who he is.
His speeches only add to the disaster. Listening to Walz is like watching oxygen being wasted, rambling, stumbling, platitudes stolen from motivational posters. He projects all the charisma of soggy cardboard. Gutfeld turns his speeches into comedy sketches where the punchline is always the same. This guy? Even his relatable image fails, making him look more like the awkward uncle nobody listens to at Thanksgiving.
Jim Walz continues to be criticized for embellishing his rank and service. After it came out over the weekend, he once claimed to be an official bikini inspector. Walz's direct superior in the National Guard says Walz knew his unit was about to deploy to Iraq and went behind the back of his superior officer to resign. When reached for comment, Walz yelled, "Hey, look over there!"
Walz doesn't lead, he just holds office like someone saving a spot in line. Gutfeld calls him the ultimate political squatter, present, but adding zero value. Even allies struggle to defend him, praising his steady hand, which is just code for doing nothing and hoping no one notices.
Walz says Democrats hate success.
We as Democrats, we want people to pay their fair share, but why are we against people being successful like that? We can't be. Why are we against? We should talk about businesses. Not all businesses exploit their workers, and we get ourselves stuck in that.
Oh, well,
and I think we lose them.
If Walz ever believed his own hype, Gutfeld tears it down. Walz mistakes holding office for leading, titles for achievements, and survival for success. In contrast, Donald Trump is bold, decisive, and unapologetic. Whether you love him or hate him, Trump commands the room. Walz fades into the wallpaper, a footnote in Minnesota history.
Our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, "You damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them."
So, wait, you lost because you weren't woke enough? That's like telling Joy Behar she's not eating enough Doritos.
By the end of Gutfeld's roast, Walz's image is rubble. Not from one scandal, but because there was never any substance to begin with. He's a placeholder politician, no conviction, no charisma, no competence. He hides from responsibility like a kid playing hide and seek, hoping nobody notices. The media props him up like fragile glass, but one shake and it all shatters.
With Walz, it's hard to even bring him up. He has a resting snitch face. You know? I mean, he forfeited his man card during COVID and the riots. And you're right. And also, at that diner, of course, he left early. So don't you find it weird that for a terrifying threat to democracy that Trump is, not a single interviewer in his history has approached him with...
Gutfeld reduces Walz to a walking punchline. He plays it safe, offers nothing bold, and projects about as much passion as someone reading a grocery list. Even when he talks strength, it's laughable. His so-called consensus building is just procrastination dressed in a suit. He avoids decisions until forced into the least unpopular choice.
It's amazing how they operate one way when they're running, and then when they lose and get humiliated, all of a sudden they have these solutions, and they're all the things we're telling you to do. Like, why are you trying to trash one of the most successful companies in the world, you moron?
And they never did that because they all used to love Trump when Trump was giving them money.
Yeah.
Then Trump became like Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack.
Yeah.
He crashed their party, showed up at the White House, and he was just like, hey, you know what? We should put like a casino over there, an MMA ring over there.
Consensus isn't leadership, it's surrender. And Minnesota has paid the price. Crime, frustrated businesses, exhausted parents, and citizens fed up with waiting. The contrast with Trump is sharp. Trump changes the atmosphere when he walks in. Walz makes people look for the exit. One radiates energy, the other lethargy.
And look at, I'm especially talking about these old white guys who seem to disappoint us on a regular basis in this country.
Dude. You're an old white guy. And you're right, you are a huge disappointment. I guess hating himself is the first thing he's nailed correctly. Because Walz saying old white men suck isn't a political stance, it's his confession.
Gutfeld drives the final nail. Walz isn't just ineffective, he's allergic to leadership. His defenders recycle words like steady and quiet, which are just polite synonyms for boring and useless. If he were an employee, HR would call him reliable only because they couldn't list an actual contribution. Walz isn't shaping the future, he's a filler character in America's political story.